Faith, fierceness, fortitude. Zuri Johnson, we have a treat here today. If you've ever seen a woman walk in both fire and favor, let me tell you how God works in having the blessing of having a beautiful family. One of the greatest things of witnessing my cousin Zuri Johnson that we're going to speak to today, just refuse to let her life define her and instead decides to redefine herself through her faith, through her fierceness, through her fortitude and grace. She has this amazing aura about herself that I've always admired. And she's not just a model, she's not just my amazing cousin, but she's a speaker, a trainer, a coach, a writer. She's a movement. She's a force, and she's a force for women that been through the valley, been ups, downs, but women who learn how to rise through their story. She's in perfection in power every single day because she keeps God first. See, Zuri Johnson's journey didn't start on just stages or within any type of rooms. It started with surrender. She lets God lead her. Ever since I can remember, the blood and the sweat and tears that Zuri happens, she opens her Bible, which opens her heart, which lets God lead. God, use me is the main thing I think about. When I look at Zuri's TikTok page and she's doing workouts and she's doing actually inspiring people with scriptures, generations in and out, and heal not only on the inside, but the outside, you're going to meet a champion here today. She encourages women with the plus size story. She encourages those and uses her platform boldly and shares her faith-based lifestyle, knowing that God first, rooting her on all the way through scripture and style, unapologetically authentic. This is an amazing conversation that you have. This is a special treat because it's deeper than just a conversation. It's an authentic story. We're not like gurus. This is not scripted. This is not a act. Finding out what's going on in someone's journey in real life. We're going to take away three things here today. Today, we're going to talk to Zuri Johnson and understand how faith and resilience shows up in your story. We're going to find out how transformation in your body, your mind, your spirit, it's not just getting into the workout room with your fitness, it's getting in that mindset workout room. We're going to actually learn from Zuri Johnson, her storytelling and where she was, where she is now, and where she's going, showing up fully and authentically. Her story matters because, again, it's inspirational to see someone utilizing the platform of TikTok and Facebook and YouTube in a positive light. And, her going to a HBCU. I've known Zuri my whole life, my little cousin who's grown all up, a brilliant woman, wife, cousin, sister. And I've seen her grow and bold in woman with her mother, Judy Johnson, and my uncle Floyd, rest in heaven, Floyd Johnson, pouring into her with all the different love and truth they gave her. She's impacted me in ways that she doesn't even know, being out there in California. And, it's one of those things that you honor a queen because that's what we are. We're queens in our story. So I'm just excited to bring Zuri, who represents strength, hope, family, heart, people, just growth, and she's leadership and movement. My cousin Zuri Johnson, what up though? Let me bring you on here. Because I can keep talking about how amazing you are, because this is more than a conversation for me. It's a journey, and seeing you just in womanhood with who you are. Thank you so much for saying yes to the live virtual conversation with Adriane Mayes. What up though, cousin?
Hey, cousin. What up though?
Yes. Look, I got you saying what up though. That's
right.
She's from Dayton too, y'all. We're just gonna throw it out there right now in the front. But no, thank you seriously for saying yes to this conversation, and really wanted to just jump in regards to who Zuri Johnson is. Give us a little background in regards to kind of your journey, where you've been, where you are now, and we'll of course ask questions to see where you're going. But we kind of fill everybody in. I know my amazing cousin, but you go ahead and fill everybody else in.
Sure. So, like you said, grew up in a very family-oriented family. Like, I know there's families that are around each other, but then there's like really family-oriented families, as well as faith-based family, HBCU family, all of the things. And I could say that is one of the areas where that confidence and support and faith all grew there. After college was a government worker. That's where my training background came from. But also it's where I also was modeling. And that was I remember wanting to get into modeling while in college. And Daddy was like, you're going to finish this degree. That's what you're going to do. Because my initial thought was like, man, I don't even know why I'm doing this. That was like junior year. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But he was really the one that said, you're going to finish what you started. And
Mhm.
so that was great because it ended up getting my master's and my bachelor's and my master's from Kentucky State University, and that was a solid foundation for me to be able to not only have the career in training and development and leadership, but also to now feel comfortable to go after creative ventures, going into modeling and pageantry and just growing in self, because I feel like one side of me was being fulfilled through career, but then there's the other side of me that I felt like there was a self expression that I needed to get out.
Okay. And so walk me through, because I honestly don't know, like in regards to when you actually decide, all of a sudden I just saw you on the scene, like doing modeling and things like that. What actually
Yeah,
encouraged you to start doing modeling, and kind of what was your specialty when you started to do so as well? Beautiful modeling as well.
thank
Seriously.
you. So I actually did some college, well, I actually did one college fashion show, but
Hmm.
then a friend of mine was competing in a pageant called Miss Kentucky Plus America.
Okay.
And they also had the fashion show for it. So people that weren't the people competing in it, there were other models. Please excuse the background. There were other models that were just doing the runway show for it. And so I got involved with that. I modeled in 2013 for the Miss Kentucky Plus America. And then I was asked to come up to Ohio because
Hmm.
even though I was originally from Ohio, I lived in Kentucky for a long time. I modeled for the Miss Ohio Plus America pageant. And the
Okay.
thing that really got me into it was I'm just seeing all these women that were extremely confident in
Mm.
in their skin, and they
Hmm.
were all these various sizes, and they were such successful women. So one thing I feel like that often gets portrayed amongst plus size women is that media sometimes will try to put out laziness or
Mm.
try to put out this idea that they aren't as attractive or any of things. And I'm going to these events seeing all of these women. They are doctors, they are lawyers, they are all these different roles, and they are extremely confident. They're dressed to the nines, they have gowns on, and they look so beautiful. So it wasn't like they chose one or the other. They were representing fully on both sides, and a lot of them were also very strong in their faith.
Hmm.
So that opened me up to a whole different world. I never expected to be in pageants, but ended up competing in pageantry in 2014. I was Miss Kentucky Plus America 2014, and ended up being the first runner up to the Miss, which MISS Plus America in 2014. And then
See?
I met so many people that now I got into this network of plus modeling,
Hmm.
not just the pageant side, but now it's like, oh, there are people, there are all these runway shows, there are all these different things. So I ended up modeling mainly runway
Hmm.
all over, I would say, the Southeast, even up into New York. There was a fashion show in the plus size world, really well known, called the Full Figured Fashion Show in New York City. And I auditioned and was able to model for them in 2015. And I modeled for various runway shows in DC and Baltimore and in uh, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina. And so it just opened my world to just the possibilities. And it makes sense because girl, all of us wear clothing. We all
Let's
need
start there.
clothes. We all need
Right?
clothes, but also we desire stylish clothing. And we
Mhm.
also want to know like how to wear it and how to embody the confidence with it. So going into fashion really helped me grow in my confidence in my own skin, going into
Mhm.
modeling and pageantry. So that confidence then flowed into other parts of my life.
So share with me, Z, what is a pageant like? Like, we have, there's misconceptions in regards to it just being like all about beauty. But I know
Mhm.
even when you were going through that actual journey, like you're saying, there's confidence builders, there's service that you actually have to do. Walk me
Mhm.
through kind of what that looks like when you actually sign up to be a part of a pageant.
Yeah, and there are actually a number of different pageants I didn't know this. There's a lot of things that's like not until you get in it do you
Mm-hmm.
know what's going on. So there's volunteer hours that are required. There's a platform that you actually are standing on. My platform was 1 year was the Beautiful Thank You Project, where I was going to different schools and talking with young girls about the simple idea of them understanding their beauty.
Mm.
And I would ask the young girls at these schools, like middle schools, high schools, when was the last time someone told you you were beautiful? And
Mm.
also, the sad part, what I was also asked them, when has someone ever told you you weren't?
Mm.
And the thing, this is why I brought up family first, is
Mm-hmm.
because in our family, I feel like there were confidence or putting you out there or pumping you up and all these things. It was real. So to see these young ladies saying that the person that did not that told them they were unattractive first was in their family
Mm.
was heartbreaking.
Right.
To have the place where confidence is supposed to be built up, the easiest place for your confidence to be built up in that
Mm-hmm.
more intimate family setting was really tough. So, like I said, there's platforms, there's volunteer hours, there's also a interview process that you have to go through as you're competing. So you get scored on interview, you get scored on stage question, you get scored on your presence on stage, as
Okay.
well as you get scored for a talent portion if you choose to participate in that. Some there are essays for some of them. So there are some pageants where you are competing and you're able to earn scholarships. Other pageants where it's a way of possibly just networking, things of that nature. But that is one thing I think was important was I got to be around so many beautiful and powerful and intelligent women that it was just a place for me to grow in my confidence.
Now, as how did that help you grow in your confidence? Like, in other words, like, we are supportive, but sometimes, family can be kind of the worst critics as well.
Yes,
So it's like
that
it's a
is
pro or
very
con.
true.
No, we'll be honest,
Right.
and we'll be honest on here. Like, we'll be for
Yes.
real. So when you sometimes don't get the encouragement of maybe the praises that you may have seen, how did that help you with your mindset in regards to just pursuing on your own sometimes? Just that whole plight of fashion and fitness and beauty.
Since we're since we're being honest,
Let's be honest
honest,
though.
honest. Um,
You was
Even
kind
though
of
I
honest a
say
little bit.
no, we're going to be honest, honest. So the same way that I say that the support in the some of the confidence building, family was also the place where, for my size, there were different critiques that I
Mhm.
experienced, and so to come into this place where a lot of these women were also they were healthy. I want to get this out there that just because someone is fuller figured does not mean that they are not healthy or that
Mhm.
they are not taking the path or steps towards health, because there are some women that just happen to have medical conditions that have placed extra weight on them, or they may have been pregnant a year before and now they are working off baby weight. So I think there's a lot of ideas around health and plus sizeness and everything like that that is not always true. But that within the pageant world was the thing that when I saw women that were confident in their
Mhm.
size, it made me feel like, yeah, because I've had people say different things about my size and my weight. I've had a person, I've had different people say different things about my size and my weight.
Say that twice. Pause.
Because, well,
But I mean,
also
but how does
because
that make you
I'm not
feel though?
short.
Because on a serious note, for those people that struggle, it may not be as
Yeah,
strong as you. And when people talk about your weight, how does
yeah.
that make you feel? Like,
So
on a real
that
talk.
was um, real talk. There were times where I probably practiced the things that I should not have practiced. I may have practiced eating a lot and then making myself throw up,
Oh wow.
um, or being very diet conscious and being very like, oh, I need to do all these things to make sure that I'm whatever size. And the funny thing is, when I entered the pageant, it was probably the smallest I had been in my adult life.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm going into this room and I'm seeing all these women that are fuller figured than me. And I'm like, oh, well. And that's not to say that I was desiring to get larger, but it was telling me, okay, even if I was a little bit larger, I'm still able to be beautiful, and not only be beautiful, but also be intelligent. Not only be intelligent, but also just show up. That was one thing that the pageant world helped me, was to just show up. Like, I was fuller figured, but also tall. So one way or the other, you were going to see me.
Right.
And so
We
when
can't
I
hide.
say,
That's one
right,
thing we can't do.
not like I'm 5'11", and I will give credit to Azi, my sister, your cousin, because Azi is 6'1", and I remember my senior year of high school, I had seen Azi wearing heels, and so
Mm-hmm.
I decided to start practicing wearing heels senior year of high school, because my sister is 2 inches taller than me. Then I could do this. And so I believe the funny thing is that was a seed that was planted to then one of my main parts in pageantry and modeling is runway. Me walking the stage, walking platform in heels. So
Right. And it's so funny when we do wear heels, because it's we're already tall, and
mm-hmm,
so we're already the when we first walk in the room, and so even when how did that make you feel though when you were being judged and labeled, and just because great things about I love Ozzy's confidence, seriously, Ozzy
mm-hmm,
and Dana, because they
yeah.
I mean the way that they carry themselves, we can't control how we're giants. It's not
Just
our fault.
just
Like
right. The whole family. We are from a family of giants.
yes, like and it's not our like we're born
Right.
this way. So when there's nothing that you can actually do about
Mm-hmm.
who we are, right?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel when people are ridiculing you, and how do you get through those moments when people are talking about your height, your size, your what you should look like, what how do
I
you get
think
through
I
those
got
things?
to a point where, because layering on top of this, and I know that you understand this, was also eczema. So
Yes.
in modeling, having eczema, and at one point, it was to the point where it was all over my arms, all over my legs, causing me to be completely different colors of my skin. And so I really got to a point mentally where I just said, "This is I am here.
Mm-hmm.
There's no putting. I'm I can't not show up with my skin. I can't not show up this size at this moment. So I'm either going to choose to be who I am or I'm not. But me showing up has nothing to do with anyone else. And if anyone else feels a certain way about it, that's as one of my other aunts said, that's a them problem. That
Yeah.
has nothing to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that then flowed into the choices of how I wear my hair, choices of how I may dress at times, choices of just showing up and having to practice. And it still is a mental thing, but having to practice not shrinking,
Mm.
because what's the point?
Right. Right.
There's no,
Right.
like, when you're already tall and then I start wearing afro textured hair, so then my hair is adding more height to me and I'm already fuller figured. It's like I'm either going to be seen trying to cover up and
Yeah.
shrink, or I'm going to be seen being myself. So I would
Mm-hmm.
rather show up being myself in the most myself way versus me looking back and be like, dang, I wish I wouldn't have wore that, or I wish I would have done this differently. Yeah.
Right. One thing that you kept repeating in that statement that's standing out to me is being yourself.
Mm-hmm.
How important is it, Z, in regards to loving yourself? Like with
Mm-hmm.
this eczema was the hardest. If I can be honest and say I'm single with no children, and eczema is a large reason due to that, because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that. I was peeling like a snake. I mean, you how what man wants to lay? I mean, you know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
the mindset that
Mm-hmm.
you have
It,
had, now I'm 45, about to be 46, and I can be honest, now that God is taking it away from me, I know that that's one of the reasons. Like, I didn't want
mm-hmm.
anybody to touch me, like, and,
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
little things. So when we go through those different things that we can't control, And you think about your journey and how your strength has come from within. What's some ways that you actually have conquered those inner things that's saying that loving yourself is not the right way? Because that is the solution. But how
Mm-hmm.
do you get there?
I So this then ties in faith,
Mm,
because a lot of it stems from me needing to find my identity and my value, and
okay.
recognizing that a lot of the different people that I may be around, or different people that were critiquing, or different people saying whatever, and even myself, because I may not have always spoken well to myself,
Right.
was recognizing that my identity comes from Christ. My identity comes from God. And so when finding my identity and my value in Him, it's like, well, now if I recognize my identity comes from Him, then
Hmm.
whatever anyone else says, I have to practice not allowing that to override what He said. If He
Hmm.
had said that I'm enough, if He had said that I'm beautiful, if He said all of these things, then the people that didn't create me, their opinion cannot be greater than what His opinion. And my opinion cannot be greater than His opinion. So that means I have to be mindful of how I speak about His creation, being myself. So
Yes.
having to practice, and even my husband gets on me sometime now, like having to practice how I'm speaking to myself about myself, because
Hmm.
I'm not my own. I didn't create myself. I didn't, and I have to believe that God didn't make any mistakes
Come on.
when He created me. So that is one. It's a huge thing of being mindful of, one, where we find our identity, who
Hmm.
we allow to determine our identity, and then who we what we choose to believe.
Hmm. One of the things that I don't even know if you know that I just applaud you on is you waiting until you were married, like in
Mm-hmm.
regards to your sexual journey or what have you. What made you be different? Because
Mm-hmm.
even if you got family got you. I don't know what your friends did, but when you came to family reunions, we I
That's
know
real.
that you had to. So, but it was all about a choice. I know it's in the
Mm-hmm.
Bible, but what made you choose that
Mm-hmm.
way? And your strength, even with that, I don't. You need to be applauded because with your fine husband and
Yes.
that you ended up marrying. Like,
Yes.
so what is tell people how did you do that? And what made you actually choose to wait?
Yeah. So me choosing to wait, it was funny. For one, I did not desire marriage until I met the man who was currently my husband. But then I also, the idea of marriage was new and all these things. But we didn't end up we didn't get married until like 19, no, not 19. We've known each other for 19 years today, this year. But we got married whatever number of years after that. We were friends. We dated for a year. We were friends for a long time. But my choice in waiting was tied to what I understood came with it,
Mm,
and not just the physical aspects of it, but of course the physical aspects of it, but also the intimacy, mentally and
mm-hmm.
emotionally and spiritually, and all these things. Like, yes, this is not to say I did not have physical urges and
Right.
desires, and
Right.
I tried to go a little bit past what I was initially trying to go, but the Lord pulled me on back.
Right.
So
Right.
we're not gonna act like it didn't
Right.
things
Exactly. You
were
feel me?
not
Come on now.
tempting.
We're not
We're not
perfect.
gonna act like things were not tempting.
Right.
But the thing that it came down to was, in being physical with somebody, my understanding of it, there was so many levels of intimacy there.
Mm-hmm.
And so even when I was in my waiting and I wasn't dating anyone, I was being mindful of even how I spoke about those urges, about those temptations. I wouldn't try to curse those or try to say like, oh, I rebuke, like for the church people, oh, I rebuke that temptation, or oh, I rebuke that. No, like, Lord, I'm gonna ask that this thing hold on until the time where I can fully express it. because I'm not going to shut down an urge that I'm naturally supposed to have. I just want to have it in the place that it's safe. That was my whole thing.
Right.
I wanted to be in a place that was safe, that was emotionally safe, that was mentally safe, as well as physically safe. Because in the waiting, one thing that it did was for me and my husband, and for anyone I may have talked to, it caused me to have to get to know people.
That
It
part.
caused to have conversations and be able to cut things off quicker
Right.
than if I was physically intimate with them. So it caused deeper conversations. People don't like to get deep, but listen, when you're not doing nothing else, you, when you're not doing nothing else, you learn how to have conversations that really get to know people, because you have I feel like you have to know the person that you're going to be intimate with, because those things you're going to be connecting with, those things you're going to be bringing in, you're going to be living around, you're learning their relationship with other people, learning their relationship with themselves, like learning. I tell some friends of mine, I'm like, you need to see people in each season, not just when y'all are happy go lucky. You need to see how they handle grief. You need to see how they handle hard times, even how they handle joy. But like, just to choose to be open with people, it's like, yeah, I want to get to know this person for real. So we're gonna have to have a conversation. We're gonna have to talk.
So, are you glad that you waited until marriage to be able to take that next step sexually? Or are you happy about that? If you
I
once
am.
you look back at it now that you're here where you are,
Yeah,
would
I
you?
am.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not to put down anyone else that has not waited or anything like that, because I believe that the Lord is able to restore and give people new experience for whenever they do end up getting married. But I'm glad that the level of intimacy that I've experienced, I have not experienced that with anyone else. So I'm
Oh, see,
able
that's
to
amazing.
like,
It is.
so I'm able, it's not even just the level of intimacy, but to know that the work that marriage takes,
Yes.
like, I'm able to focus and learn this person and
Mm-hmm.
learn the ins and outs of this person. And that involves physically as well, but spiritually, mentally, all that stuff. Like, I, this is not to put anyone down. It feels like it's a lot to have to get to know a lot of people, to have to
Yeah.
get to know one person and another person. And, I've heard somebody talk about this, like, oh, you got to learn this person's likes and dislikes, or that person's likes and dislikes. Listen, it's enough learning one person's likes and dislikes, and just the freedom that comes within marriage.
And the crazy thing is, I'm dating myself right now, and I mean that wholeheartedly, because
Mm-hmm.
getting to know my God and the one that He created, because
Mm-hmm.
I put forth all these falsities, and now that I'm getting to know who I am and loving that person, how important was it to love your kind of you've had haters, so how were you able to get through those people that were telling you how you should have lived and how you are actually living?
That's the other funny part about it is I am and was living. I just because that part of my life was not active,
Hmm.
I actually believe that I was able to be more active in various other parts of my life. I knew how to be comfortable and enjoy my own time. I knew
Okay.
how to be comfortable and enjoy um, myself, me going out different places. Like you were saying, you're dating yourself. I am not afraid to go anywhere,
Right.
almost anywhere, just on my own. And it's actually that was one of the biggest adjustments in getting
Hmm.
married, is because, especially getting married at, what was I, 35,
Hmm.
I had learned independence and learned enjoyment and not having to rely on, oh, is this person going or is that person going or who all's going to be there. Like, I'm going to be there. That's okay.
Right. Right.
Like, I choose to go. I don't feel like I have to have other people. It's nice to have other people, But so that was one big thing of I went on trip, like all these places I'm saying I modeled. I was going there on my own. I was
Mm-hmm.
taking road trips, driving myself to New York, driving to DC from Kentucky, driving to all these places on my own and
Mm-hmm.
comfortable in it. And so I think there was a level of knowing myself, knowing my likes, knowing my dislikes. And also, so this was the thing when my husband and I started um, dating again, and we started dating again in 2020, was my first thing with him was one, I want us to get to know each other as adults
Mm.
because we had known each other in college, but now it's like, okay, we actually need to know each other as adults because we've both experienced life. But
Right.
then also, I asked him to, I'm entering into this one way, but I ask that you give me the grace to transform and to
Mm.
grow
Mm.
and and give me the grace to change my mind. Like I may have said this thing or been this way one day, and then a
Right.
week later or 2 weeks later or a year later, that may not be who I am, or that may not be of as much importance, or I may have changed my position on that thing.
Right.
So I'm asking you to give me the grace to be able to change my mind.
Mm. So how important and impactful is it to have a mate that listens and
Yeah.
is open to change? Because, like you said, coming from dating in college to being an adult, and then even saying "I do" is the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with God actually having a part of that. So
Mm-hmm.
how important is it to actually learn how to listen to
Mm-hmm.
each other and to talk through things and communication, as you brought up earlier as well?
Mm-hmm. That is why the physical part people need to hold on. I think people need to hold off some amount of time
Right.
because we can get distracted. People can be telling us who they are. People can be communicating things to us, but we can be blinded by all of the physical urges and physical feelings that we've been having, that we're
Right.
ignoring what they've been saying from the beginning, or different signs of their character or their personality. So
Mm.
I think to practice communication, practice asking questions, random questions, not not trying to. I know that there is a time where people are all trying to put on this, like, oh, this is me, and I get dressed every day, and I put on makeup all the time, and I do this. But at some point, if that is not truly you,
Right.
taking the time, taking the time to allow your true self to show up, and hopefully the other person also allows their true self to show up, because then it's like let's get to know these people, because you spent some amount of time getting to know the facade. You spent some
It's
amount
so
of time getting to
crazy.
know the
Z.
mask.
It's so crazy. I've been doing these live conversations, and I do have it. I like to uphold a image when I present myself on camera type thing. But I've
Mm-hmm.
been doing these for leading up to my birthday, 46 live virtual conversations, right? And so, in addition to doing my Tuesday 4 o'clock lives, and
Mm-hmm.
so this morning I had a live this morning, but I also had to go and life happened this morning
Mm-hmm.
as well. So God tested me because this was my first time having to do a live. I wasn't being able to get everything together like I wanted to get together. But I said, devil, you're not going to win here because,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so funny because you know how you watch TV and you see people like, why didn't she do her hair? Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And so when you get past all of the physical things that happens and you do what God has you here to do, that
Mm-hmm.
that it was literally this morning. I went I went through that this morning, and it's like either you love yourself and you're here for what God has you here for, or you're caught
Mm-hmm.
up in all the everything else type thing. But
Yeah.
what happens is if you start to love yourself and communicate and have confidence in what you do, that takes time. So I wanted to, because I definitely want to make sure I adhere to your time. There's a couple of things I want to touch on before I go into our top 8. Like, what made you, in regards to start doing fitness and doing Bible verses at the same time? That's kind of unique in itself. And I saw you
Mm-hmm.
on TikTok. I was like, come on, Z, let's do it, baby. Come on. So what made you even decide to take on this task? And it literally, just kind of walk me through what made you start doing that,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't mind.
No problem.
That was so interesting.
I'll touch on the fitness part more
Hmm.
first. So the fitness part, as you know, with Daddy passing last year,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I got out of that was the importance of fitness,
Okay.
was the importance of movement,
Mm-hmm.
moving our bodies, taking care of our bodies because we don't get another body.
Right. Right.
And so that fitness has always been in my life in some way, whether I've been consistent with it or not. I've always tried to practice either going to the gym, or my main thing is walking. That's like my favorite thing to do. But it was just more, it was reinforced with Daddy passing last year. And
Mm-hmm.
so with fitness, and then to show up, like we said, showing up as myself, showing up in this body, it's like, oh yeah, let me show people what's going on, show them try to show them some consistency, try to show them some different movements that I've learned. If nothing else, whether they choose to do these movements or not, it may just trigger them to desire to get up and move.
Mm-hmm.
um, and then to then add the word to it, the word part is so important because
All right. Hello.
one because one, the I'm also in ministry. I am a minister, and so me bringing in the word is a way of me pulling that part of my life into
Mm-hmm.
it, just trying to mesh these things, and me recognizing that my generation, the younger generation, some don't always just get into the word for themselves,
Right. Right.
don't always actually read it for themselves. Sometimes sometimes it's easier just to catch a sermon, but I think it's important to actually read and know the word for yourself. So know, what does the scripture say? And then what is the context of the scripture? Where can you find
Mm-hmm.
the scripture? And so to try to get that just in a little bite-sized piece, is like, hey, this is the scripture, here's some context to it, and here, before you work, like all this is your spiritual fitness and your physical fitness.
I love it. I mean, it's a great concept because you feeding your mind as well as your body. Because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when you take accountability of who you are in the direction on how long you want to be here, we only are given one body, and so
Right.
what you put in that body, what you do in your ritual and your routine, those things are so impactful because again, your end result is what you decide to actually do. So when I saw you doing that on TikTok, I was like, "Come on, Zay." So you mentioned that you're a minister as well. Like in regards to, are you a minister within the church, or how do you do your ministry? Are you still
So
doing
I
the
was,
Bible classes, or how are you doing that?
yeah, that's actually a thing since moving out to California. That right now it's been me being able to express the ministry and ministry. Um, my title, I'm not being on title. My title is teacher in
Okay.
ministry. So I've been like, okay, where can I do this right now? And so
Hmm.
social media has been the place that I'm able to express it as
Okay.
I'm just listening and figuring out what the Lord wants me to do. But yes, I was ordained with my church in Kentucky. It's Heavenly Outpour Church. And so
Come on,
there I
Minister
was able
Z.
to,
Come
there
on.
I was able to be teaching, but I also believe that our life is ministry. So it's not just tied
Mhm.
to if you're up on a pulpit or something like that. Like, it's however we carry ourselves wherever
Yes.
we're going. I think whether someone has a title of ministry or not, whoever says that they are a believer, it's like, oh,
Mhm.
for real, it's like now our life is a ministry. That doesn't mean we're perfect, but it means that for those that are trying to figure out whether or not they believe that there's a God, or whether or not they believe that this whole thing is real, it's like, oh, well, I could share scripture, or I can just let you see the transformation power of
Hmm.
God, or just let you see the me leaning on God. I actually got on Instagram. Funny enough, I got on Instagram Sunday, and I
Uh-huh.
was sharing just my testimony of moving to LA and some of my struggles with just transition and being in a new place and trying to figure out things, and trying to figure out what does work look like here, what does modeling or anything else look like out here, and just all those adjustments. But also that I am leaning on God.
Huh.
So
So
having
what
to
does that look like, if I can ask, in
Mhm,
regards to moving from Ohio, the Midwest, to
mhm.
California? And how are you figuring out everything in regards to just your journey?
Yeah, the journey has been funny enough. I think of it like I'm a toddler because it's like this is a new place, and it's not just a new place location wise, but this is the farthest that I've been from the community that I've had for a long time between
Mhm.
Ohio and Kentucky. This is the farthest that I've been from close family, but also even the time zone. The time
Mm.
zone makes it feel different because you have to be mindful of this 3 hour time zone. And okay, are people awake? Or is it early on their side and on that side? And so it's been an adjustment as far as, like I said, community, family, um, with my husband being in football and just the time that football requires. So all of that is an adjustment. And so all of that has uh, required me to lean on God. It has seen me yelling at God, with God, talking to him, talking to him a lot. Like, what are we doing?
The
What's
right.
happening here? how are we? What's going on?
What's
How
the
what are
plan
we?
here? Right,
Yes,
right,
what's the plan here? But
right.
as I was saying in my testimony the other day, the common denominator is that I'm continuing to come to Him.
Mm.
Is that I'm continuing to lean on Him. I'm not. It's tempting, and there may have been times where it's like, you know what, I don't feel like doing anything. I just want to
Right.
binge watch Netflix, or I don't feel like doing anything, and I just want to eat. So then that's where it's important to practice fitness and understanding those things. And it's like, well, I need to go back to talking to God. I need to go back to understanding and relying on Him and coming back to those foundational principles, but also understanding that I've known Him as Father, I've known Him as friend, I've known Him as provider and protector and comforter. I knew Him as that when I was in a much more comfortable place in Ohio, and now I'm knowing Him as that in the uncomfortable place and having to lean on Him more. In my testimony, I said I knew God as Father when I still had my earthly father.
Mm.
So now it's like, okay, I have to know Him as Father for real. What does that look like? I
Right.
have to I have to know Him as provider. I have to know Him as comforter when things are much more uncomfortable than I've ever experienced. Um, so that's been when I say our lives as believers sometimes have to be the thing that preaches,
Mm.
even when things may not be perfect. It's like
Mhm.
the life of the believer versus the life of the one that may not believe in God. We would hope that there would be some difference. And even
Right.
that is like the difference in how we endure. It doesn't mean that it's going to be easy or perfect, but it's us enduring by relying on Him and having
Mm.
Him as our strength and having Him as the one we can rely
I love it, Z. I love it, Z. How are you dealing with grief, with Uncle Floyd passing about a
on.
year ago? Because I know it's been almost 15 years for my father, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a process.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about grief, and when someone passes, you don't have there is no timetable. So how
Mm-hmm.
have you been handling just you being the baby, the youngest, and
Mm-hmm.
losing your father last year?
The thing that the thing that's funny is I've tried to prepare for the moments that I thought grief would be the heaviest,
Mm.
and in those moments, it's really not been the heaviest. It's in the everyday moments. It could be some random moment that it's like,
Right.
oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that to impact me the way that it did. Since when moving out here, because I wasn't working full time or I didn't have as much time going on, and Daddy was he was at home chilling, and
Right.
so if you ever got on the phone with Daddy, he could talk. He could talk.
Right.
You bring up one topic and it's like, okay, we're gonna go from this topic to that topic to that topic, and that's what we were doing. Like I'd be going on the walk and I just talk to him, and we could talk about family history, African American history, we're going through all the different things, and we did that really often. So I feel like we grew even deeper during that time of me being out here and just calling him up.
Okay.
So grief would has actually hit me sometimes just on a walk or on a car ride, where I would usually be like, oh, I'm not, let me just call and see how he's doing. Right. Whereas sometimes moments when I've been to his grave site where I'm like, okay, let me prepare, I'm okay. But that's just because I can say that I know where he is. Like, I know where his spirit is. I know where he is. So that hasn't hit me like that. It's just in your everyday moments where I'm like, oh, all right. And one thing I could say that my husband helped me out. He was like, just let yourself feel it. Don't try to like muscle through it or something like that. Just let yourself feel it and be okay. Because I used to, when I was younger, I used to hate crying. But I think I know that that's something actually that the Lord worked out in me, where I could be praying or worshiping or something, he caused me to cry. So now in grief, it's like, we're just going to let it happen. We're going to work through it. And okay.
Keep it going. I honestly, right. I had Mary on here last week, and I can be honest and say it again. I feel Uncle Floyd's presence within our conversation. Like I feel the spirits in regards to when people pass away, and I honestly, like, I just hear it even right now in this moment. I hear him, like my angels come and check on me. I embrace that, and I'm thankful for that as well. So I do want to make sure I adhere to the time, and I want to do our fun part, which is so engaging. So I have a few questions just to kind of, wrap everything up in regards to the top 8. So if you could be any superhero character, Z, like any superhero character, I'm Flash because, that's my line name on Delta.
You took one, right? Okay.
Now, what superhero character would you be and why?
Oh, I'm going to pick somebody that actually has powers. Oh, I'm going to pick Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel actually has powers. She was a white lady, but she actually had powers.
Captain Marvel? Hold on, yes. I gotta look Captain Marvel up. Hold on.
Captain Marvel. She's
a white lady.
That's she was a white lady. Although she also I forget her name. Not Tika. I'm really mad that I don't remember her name right now. The black lady has her kind of transition into her role. I remember. She was in the movie. The movie They Cloned Tyrone.
They cloned Tyrone. No, I haven't.
It had Jamie Foxx, and I can't remember the lady's name.
That's why we don't even have to worry in 2000.
They cloned Tyrone.
In 2025, we don't ever have to worry because we have something called Google.
Yes, go to the cast.
They cloned Tyrone. And so who are you talking about? Tiona Paris?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So she's the new Captain Marvel. So I'll be her.
What is They Clone Tyrone? I've never heard of this movie.
It was a very, I'll say it felt like it was a very silly movie, but it had depth to it. It talked about some stereotypes. It was a different type of movie.
I see, because I've never seen that one. Okay, so see how you put me up on something. Okay, amazing. So Captain Marvel. Oh, that's a different one. I have not received that answer. I love it. Okay, awesome. So my next question for you is in regards to food. If you can eat any food, it doesn't matter. Forget about calories and what food. Mine used to be watermelon until a couple of days ago. I'm not sure if I'm going to have to stick with it or not, but mine used to be watermelon. What's your food that you would eat at all time, every day, all day?
Cookie.
Come on, cookie. What kind of cookies, though, Z? What kind
of cookies? It could be any cookie. Listen, and we're in the fall, and I'm like, listen, it's getting into baking season. So we're going to only keep a certain amount here, and he has to take them to work.
I've been liking those Pepperidge Farm Ojai cookies, like about the Ojai? Pepperidge Farm sugar cookies. They're like sugar cookies, kind of. It's been my Amazon problem. So they'll come and deliver it to your door. So, okay, amazing. So my next question tell me where you're from and where's home now? I know we talked about it a little bit, but
from Dayton, Ohio, and home now is Los Angeles, California.
That is amazing. I love it. LA, baby. Okay, awesome. Then, so my next question for you in regards to travel, my place is still Toronto. When I was
Mm-hmm.
when Chris was playing up there in Toronto, all the cultures, all the different areas. I've been a lot of places, but the weather I could trade in, but everything
Mm-hmm.
else in regards to the city and people, I still have to go with the T dot. What was your favorite place that you traveled to, and why?
Mm. Okay. So this is a funny story just because everybody is like, I can't believe that your mother let you do this. So I don't know if you know, when I was 13, mommy let me go on a student ambassador trip, and I went overseas for like 21 days, and we went to France, England, Greece, and Italy.
Ooh, that's
So I'm like,
amazing.
oh, I have to go back as an adult because I can
Right.
only experience it a certain way as a kid.
Uh-huh.
But I need to go back, and I really want to go back to Italy. I
I,
really want to experience it as an adult, like the food, the scenery, all of that. But that's, yes,
I
favorite.
was disappointed when I went to Sorrento, Italy, because lasagna used to be my favorite go-to food through everything, right? Went to
Mm-hmm.
Italy, so excited. I'm hyped. Yes, can I have your lasagna, please? They brought this lasagna that it transformed me from no longer having lasagna being my favorite food. Like it tasted like ravioli, though. It was not
Oh,
it.
that's probably because
Oh my,
we be eating the American version of stuff, and
yes.
then when you get the real version, it's like,
Oh my
oh,
God, it hurt my heart.
okay.
And like I don't even like saying I like the American version because now I've had the
Mm,
real lasagna and it was
right.
and I've tried it. I tried it when we were there several different places, so I didn't have it just
Mm,
one time. It was like that was what lasagna was, so that was
right.
eye opening for me. So
I feel like that's how I would be with pizza,
it,
and I'd be like, oh, okay.
right, right. Okay. So my next question for you is: there a time or a season or a day that stands out for you that you really impactful in your journey? Mine is actually now my sobriety date, which is November 20th, 2023, and is also Jabari's birthday. Our cousin Jabari
Mm-hmm.
that passed away is my angel. Rest in heaven, cuz right. And
Mm-hmm.
so that date for me is literally just kind of the old Adrienne. I love her. She was amazing, but she's gone. This new
Mm-hmm.
Adrienne is being authentic. It's owning myself and being able to use myself and growing. So I'm just 21 months sober. I'm wobbling. I'm not even two yet. So that's my day.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be like, Thanksgiving for our foundation and things like
Yeah.
that. But I'm giving something different now. God's having me give my strength and hope of experience,
Mm-hmm.
good and bad. Um,
Right. Right.
what would you say your day is?
Oh man, I think for right now, I'll say it's going to be my anniversary.
Oh, when is your anniversary
It's
though?
July 15th. It's July 15th.
Oh, so why is your anniversary your special day? Oh, I love it.
Because it was such a domino effect because we got married July 15th, and then everything moved so quickly because he's in football, so he only had the month of July off.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
he literally came out in like end of June. He proposed July 1st. We got married July 15th, and we road tripped out here and arrived by July 22nd.
Oh wow. No
Yeah,
honeymoon? You all didn't have
that
a
was
honeymoon?
the honeymoon was our road trip. We took about 4 or 5 days driving. We drove
Oh,
from Kentucky to LA.
okay, yeah, that's a good.
Yes.
That's a good.
Yeah, so we took our time. We got to visit some places in Arizona and Oklahoma and all that. So,
Oh, that's amazing. See, I love to hear that. Okay, so that was a great one. That was a good question.
yeah.
So the next question I have for you in regards to your brand, like,
Mm-hmm.
if you could actually pick one word that describes who you are, and my word is resilient.
Mm-hmm.
What's one word that you would actually describe yourself to be, and kind of why? We'll put you on the one word wall.
Okay.
Hmm.
Authentic.
Authentic. Okay,
Yeah.
I like authentic. Now,
Authentic.
why would you say authentic and why?
Um, because I don't want there to ever be a question
Hmm.
of who I am,
Mm.
and I want to. And this is a word that I'm actively trying to practice more because I know I went through a season where I'm like, oh, maybe they won't like me this much. So even being confident, you still go through those things. But
Right.
it's like I just want to show up So whether my style matches the people around me, or the way that I see things, the way that I do my hair, how I speak, it's like I want to just show up as myself. I don't want to have to be worried about trying to put on airs or anything like that.
And that's so beautiful that you say that seriously, is because again, you're only you, and it's you versus you. And when you really have that love for yourself and start doing that self-care, that's truly important. So let me ask the last question, because I definitely, like I said, I want to hear to you, your next appointment. In regards to, like, if you could go back, Z, and touch younger Zuri on the shoulder and give her some type of advice to be able to start this, and younger Z is listening, because you know us, we didn't listen as kids because they told us all the stuff.
Right.
So what advice would you give younger Zuri in regards to getting her ready to go into this journey of life and being able to be ready to do so?
I would tell her, I feel like it sounds like something other people would say, but like that all of it will make sense. All of it is being used for your growth, for your cultivation. There's not one thing that you should try to avoid because of how hard it might be, even those things that may have tried to take you out.
Right.
Like, yes, avoid danger, but like even the things that tried to take you out. I remember being on a trip, and hey, we're here, we're being vulnerable. I remember going on a trip with Daddy, and it was with an organization that he was a part of. And I learned early on that people don't always like or really respect or support the people that are in certain positions.
Yes.
There's people are haters. People can be haters. People can have a hater mentality. They may practice hater mentalities, and they sometimes might practice it to the point that they take that out on their children. So I remember going on this trip with him, and the chaperones for the youth that were on the trip decided that they weren't going to watch me, and that I couldn't find anyone else to partner up with me for walking around on this trip, and the chaperones didn't want to partner up with me on the trip, and I felt really devastated and left out, because I'm a teenager, and you all are treating me like this because you don't like my father.
Right.
So I remember that was the first moment that I ever experienced depression. That was the first moment that I ever experienced suicidal thoughts. Out of the dislike and the people that, people just being people and not thinking about that. How did you
get through that, Z? Like,
funny enough, I remember I was back in the hotel room and I was praying, but I remember Daddy also found me in the room praying, and he was very encouraging to me, and that's why I say all of it will make sense, because that was one moment that revealed to me that people may not always show up the way you desire them to show up. People may not always behave the way that you think they should behave. And like how we just have to show up for ourselves, and we have to know God. Like the fact that I knew to pray in that moment was
at 13 though too.
Yes.
At 13.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like people I've learned now that a lot of times people that may be of adult age are still expressing the traumas of them as kids, or whatever the things that they haven't learned, it's still showing up as adults. And so that's why I say it will all make sense. And we just have to keep going and not give up.
I have this saying that love them anyway. Like, because what I've realized is all of us are angels in our own way in God's light. He created us, right? But but now the difference between the old Adriane and the new Adriane is I'm no longer trying to people please. I'm no longer trying to make excuses. You like me or you don't. Like, and I'm not going to be perfect. I am perfectly imperfect in God's eyes. And so when I started owning that fact and being able to take my story and realizing that God has me here for a purpose, if I don't fight for me, who's going to fight for me? So I'm now fighting for what God designed this life of Adriane Mayes is to look like. And Z, I am seeing you do the same. And I wanted to applaud you and thank you for taking the opportunity to do this live virtual conversation because, family and support, it can go hand in hand. I know sometimes, in regards to being any place else, I truly appreciate you saying yes to supporting me within this journey. And I mean that wholeheartedly, not just for my birthday. Like, this is my thing that I do on Tuesdays. So you actually supporting as family and being a part of my journey. Zuri, this is something I truly like. Uncle Floyd was one of the first people
I
that
know.
went that when I started this 3 years
live.
ago, Uncle Floyd, I called all the family. Everybody's like, don't take my picture, don't take. I'll do it, so him doing that 3 years ago, and I look at my transformation now. I'm just now getting my footing. I'm still going through life. I'm still not where I want to be yet. As I'm on a billionaire journey. But when you're on a journey and you're able to claim and own who you are, Uncle Floyd was in your family, being the patriarch of our family, was like, you know what, I got you. And so when I do these different lives, so happy, I promise I feel him. I'm not even making that up. Like, I feel him just cheering me on, like, go, A, go. And those moments I can share with you. I can share with other people, but I'm just going to let God use me just like he's used you. So I want to thank you again for taking this time this afternoon, and definitely want to get you to your next appointment. And is there anything else that you want to say before we actually, wrap up here?
Yes, I actually want to give you your flowers because you have, I'll be honest, I'll be like, what is Adriane doing? She's just on here. She's just doing this and doing that on YouTube. And I'm like, she got something else out there on YouTube. But the thing that I want to give you your flowers for is because you're consistent. Because you have been showing up consistently. And I could say that you have been doing this. And I'm like, man, I think about like, okay, I'm supposed to be starting on my YouTube journey. And this, like, for anyone that's watching this, they may not understand how showing up on YouTube is not easy.
Right.
Right. Like, I think about it's easy to me to like make a quick TikTok or to make a quick Instagram thing. Like, to show up on a long form platform is not easy. It requires more. So to do it consistently the way that you've been doing it, like you said, over the last 3 years, I want to applaud you and say I'm very proud of you. I'm also very proud of you for your sobriety journey and for showing up for yourself.
Thank you, Z. You about to make me cry on a Tuesday. But and like I said, family support is one of those things, and you doing that today. You did that. So I'm going to let you go, but I'm going to hold you to doing the testimonial because usually I do it with people like when we get off. So just let me know what your actual feedback is, and if you don't send it to me, I'm gonna call you, text you, and try to, I'm very persistent in my my craft. But Z, thank you so much. I love you. Continue to grow. You're growing. You're beautiful in regards to and letting God lead you in your situation and everything in your journey. I'm just glad to be a part of it. I am.
Thank you.
Thanks, Z. Come on, Zuri Johnson, faith, fierceness, fortitude, grace, God's child. My cousin is beautiful. And the greatest thing about doing these live virtual conversations, I haven't talked to my Z in so long, and it gives me opportunity. And that's what I'm trying to do virtually, is to just have this opportunity to bridge the gap of communication, to show up for yourself, to be your authentic self. And you never know who you're going to impact on the way to your why. We talked about here today, like fitness and keeping God first. We talked about pageants and how she actually utilized and leveraged other women being into, different pageants and what it actually encompassed to look at it. We talked about sex, actually went into sex education and waiting till marriage and what that looked like. We even talked about having the strength and the authenticity to own your story. and loving yourself and giving yourself grace. But one thing Zuri just brought up seriously is about that we don't talk about enough is consistency. I was getting my eyebrows done for my birthday. Thank God, my Unica hooked me up. We went to go get my eyebrows arched. And it was so funny when we were in the place in the beauty bar. The lady was like, "I only have 200 followers on TikTok," and I gave her the feedback. I said, "But you have 200 followers on TikTok. Could you take 200 followers right now?" So we sometimes get caught up in the 2 million views, going viral, all the different things. Being consistent, God's going to take care of the rest. If you continuously impact people, if you find yourself within this journey, I'm just now finding myself, to be honest with you. I finally have realized what is going to get done with this AI process and the coaching and the journey. And so I'm gonna make sure I let you go, Z. So that way I'm gonna let you. I know you got to do your thing, so no worries. So with the whole process and the growth and the journey, so in knowing that piece, I honestly before the live today, like I was sharing with her, I was in between trying to get everything done before September the 6th, which is my birthday. And I wanted to get 46 live virtual conversations. And one of my line sisters called me and was like, "Well, hey, I got a lot going on. And I understand time, right? I can't do anything about it being on Saturday. So this is what I came up with. And that's why I'm actually giving this information. So the 46 random acts of kindness. And when I used to think about my birthday and traveling, I took the whole month of September. And when I did that, I traveled. I enjoy my birthday. And so I'm going to do the same thing virtually. But what I mean when I say that is I'm going to complete the 46 random acts of kindness and in regards to the virtual conversations. Now, it might not end on September 6th because Adriane decided, honestly, about an hour before this live virtual conversation, that I'm not going to kill myself. So but I do want to hear people's stories, their authentic stories, and so many people do want to share. So what I decided to do was actually to change the dates and have it to be the month of September in regards to making sure I wrap up everything. So the 46 random acts of kindness of virtual live conversations. Once I get to 46, that's when I'm going to actually end. So it won't be on September 6th. And I'm also going to change the date of the webinar blueprint training launch. I want to actually I have a number in my head, and I'm not going to say the number out loud, but I do have a minimum number that I want to get a part of the training so I can have this live training and this concept live on September the 23rd at 3 p.m. So the whole blueprints training, the Billionaire Brand AI webinar blueprint training, I'm going to have that launch live on September the 23rd instead of doing that on my birthday as well, because I had another selfish moment where I was like, I don't work on my birthday. So I'm not going live at 8 o'clock in the morning why would I do that to myself? All of this happened today, and I appreciate God for giving me on. I never worked on my birthday. And then I was getting ready to work on my birthday. Who does that? I have control. And when you're an entrepreneur, you can change things. So I changed my landing page, and there's going to be some changes. But the great thing about it is I'm going to actually be able to have these webinars, these live virtual conversations, and I want to be able to have people sitting in my VIP when I start my course on September the 23rd. And the whole course basis in the blueprint is around the factor of doing one-to-many marketing, utilizing AI, automation, how to grow your brand. And you can do it in a DM, you can do it face-to-face, door knocking, and I've done all of those different things. But with webinars and working with Jason Fladian, multi-millionaires, made over $500 million with webinars, you just got to learn the framework. If you notice today, the questions that I asked Zuri and everyone that I'm doing live, I'm practicing the framework that is actually allows people to have the 14 steps to help them build their billionaire brands. So when you tell your story, and when I have people that are going to start doing their live virtual conversations, those sign up for the training and the blueprints. The training is going to be encompassing helping them with their webinar, doing troubleshooting, utilizing AI like ChatGPT from the deep, utilizing all of these different resources to build your story. Your story is so authentic. It's yours. Nobody knows it unless you tell it. And you can really help someone else out on the way to your why if you actually let somebody know what's going on. I'll end with this. In the Black community, communication was never a strong point. And I know that, therapy is one of the things I firmly believe in. Mental health is another thing. Mindset, having this reaching for the best version of Adriane Mayes is a daily process that I let God lead every day. But when you actually have that opportunity to impact just one, You take one person and you actually want to transform and be the best version of yourself. The how, the why is the people that you surround yourself with. And the Billionaire Brand AI Webinar Blueprint Training that's going to launch now on September the 23rd is literally leveraging not only just Adriane Mayes, but the 6, 7, 8, and 9-figure marketers and team, which I call the AI Cash Story Dream Team, have them all encompassed together. So thank you so much for tuning in today with Faith, Fierceness, Fortitude, and Grace, Zuri Johnson Live, and being a part of this Random Acts of Kindness movement and being the part of your live virtual conversation, because your story matters, you matter, and you're just being authentic, being real, being you, but letting God lead the journey, and you literally are the end results. So I trust the process. You have to live the process. And I can, I will, I shall be victorious. What up, though, Detroit, Michigan? Let's go. Deuces.